All right, all right, all right. Carnivore Soldier coming at you from Austin, Texas. Today we got another movie review. And today's movie is Fat Fiction, a 2020 film written and directed by Jennifer Isenhart. It has an IMDb rating of 7.7. Fat Fiction is a documentary where they discuss the origins and the history of the U.S. dietary guidelines. Where did they come from? How did they come up with these numbers, this food pyramid? What's it all about? And it has a lot of the same characters we've seen in the other films I've reviewed, such as Fat, a documentary, and The Perfect Human Diet. So you're going to recognize some of these experts and doctors and professionals out there. Gary Taubes is one of them. He's an excellent journalist, does a lot of great research in the food and diet space, especially low carb. The author of The Big Fat Lie, and she has a lot of good things to contribute. And then there's a lot of doctors on here, cardiologists, sports medicine doctors. It's a really good mix, and they all have a lot of value. So yeah, let's jump into the review. So what I liked about this movie, I liked the way that they focused on type 2 diabetes and how they could reverse it. And they actually interviewed a lot of people and showed people that had actually reversed type 2 diabetes in a short period of time. We're talking weeks and months. And it was pretty amazing. Also, I did like that they did the experiment in the beginning. So what they do in the beginning is they have an experiment where they get 3 people who are eating the standard American diet. They put a blood glucose insulin meter on their arm so they can get readings throughout the day. Then they put them on a keto diet. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, it's keto, it's not carnivore. Well, technically, carnivore is a form of a ketogenic diet. That's the fact. It's just a more restrictive form. So it is a ketogenic diet. You get the same kind of results. You just get better results with a cleaner diet. So anyway, they put these 3 people on a keto diet, and they're eating whole foods, no sugars, no grains, no seed oils. And they have them check their blood sugar each day, and their blood sugar just levels out and goes rock solid. And they feel satiated because they're eating lots of good fats. They're eating animal fats. They're not eating a bunch of bad processed seed oils. And they're basically eating fewer meals, not snacking, because the urge to snack goes away because they're not hungry all the time, because they're not using carbohydrates as a fuel. And they don't do it very long. It's not like a super long, it's only like a week or 2, I think. And they check their blood glucose and it just levels out, and they lose weight too during this, just doing a keto diet, not even a carnivore diet. Then they put them on the standard American diet, and they eat everything that USDA guidelines tell you to eat. And boy, did they get out of whack, and their blood work gets messed up, and they're snacking, they're hungry all the time. 2 hours after breakfast, they're hungry. The same things we used to experience before we went carnivore. And if you haven't gone carnivore yet, probably the same things you're experiencing right now. When you do go carnivore on a ketogenic diet, you get to the point where you're not hungry 2 hours after you eat. You eat a nice bowl of eggs with butter and some sausage or bacon. You're not going to be hungry for a long time after that. Sometimes you get, after you've been on it for a while, you just even skip breakfast and go straight to lunch and start eating just lunch and dinner like I do now. And that wasn't anything I planned. I'm not doing a, intermittent fasting. I'm not planning a fast. It just happens organically because your body, you learn how to listen to your body, and you learn how to listen to your hunger signals, which drastically change on a ketogenic diet. So those are the things I like. Also, I did like they showed Dr. Knowles, I believe his name is. He did the book on long distance running, and he's a world renowned runner. And his initial book had a whole couple chapters on carb loading when he believed that. But based on his own body reaction, when he got older, he realized that the carb loading was terrible because his body wasn't working that way. So he went to a ketogenic diet, and he might even be carnivore, I'm not sure. But anyway, he no longer carb loads, and he republished that book, taking those 2 chapters out, acknowledging that he was wrong, that carb loading is a terrible idea. My son doesn't carb load before he does his races, and he's not 2 minutes off his 2-mile and got 3 PRs in a row and placed in his last race. So it's real. You don't need to carb load. And in fact, I just interviewed a retired chief petty officer, David Saunier, and he's on my Mission Carnivore video number 3, I believe it is. Anyway, he is a long distance biker, and he bikes 100 miles without any carbs. He doesn't take any carbs. He just brings water, and that's all he brings, and electrolytes. And that's all he needs for 100 miles. Sometimes he doesn't need it, because your body is really designed to work this way. And I tell people this all the time. It's kind of like your body's this top fuel dragster ready to just take off, and you're feeding it unleaded, the cheapest unleaded with ethanol in it. That's terrible. And the engine just, it runs, but it barely performs. Where if you put in the alcohol top fuel in there, that thing's going to jet down the drag strip. And that's what David Saunier found out too. Anyway, I recommend you check that video out too. It's very good, especially for athletes that are doing endurance, because that's the real deal. He's been doing that for a while, and he goes into depth on that. Okay, what I didn't like about it was that it didn't really talk about carnivore, but it was probably made in 2020. Carnivore wasn't really a huge thing. It was a smaller. I remember when I was doing keto and I saw some carnivore stuff, and I thought, well, that's extreme. I'd never do that. There's no reason to do that. And now I understand why. I know better, and that's why I am a carnivore. But there's a lot of ketovores out there and keto people out there too, and they're all part of the same movement. We are all part of the same movement. We're just different factions or versions of this diet. And like just lion diet's even more strict than carnivore, right? Which I am a modified lion diet right now, because I find my body works best at that. And everyone has their progression. But even Dr. Berg or Dr. Berry, even Dr. Berry started out keto and transitioned to carnivore, and he's still a modified carnivore. But you know what? It works for his body. So everyone's going to have their own journey. And so what I didn't like about it, though, is it did talk about keto a lot and didn't really talk about some of the other aspects, and didn't really go into the seed oils too much. It did talk about vegetable oils and plant oils being bad. And it talked about sugar being bad. So I guess it did do, but as far as vegetables, it didn't. And it did talk about grains. So it basically covered all the bases. It really illustrates the fact that if all you did was take out all the processed food, the grains, the seed oils, the sugar, and the trans fats, if you just took that out of your diet, because that's all they're really doing, then you're going to see remarkable results. And that's the basis, right? Now, remarkable results is one thing that gets you 80, 90% of the way there. If you want to live an optimized life where you're 57 years old like me and you're doing sprints and push-ups and you're not restricted and you're feeling wicked young, then you up your game and you restrict more things out of your diet, and your body will be optimized, running on the best fuel that it's designed to run on. So anyway, so not much that I didn't like about it. I really liked most of it. Let's talk about the production value a little bit. I think the production value was excellent. This is definitely an A. It's really well made. The experts, I mean, the filming, the lighting, the writing, everything's good. The interviews are all edited really well. It's at a good pace. It's not slow. So it's really a good production value. Definitely give it an A there. The entertainment value, yes, it was very entertaining. It had a lot of good information. And I think it just kind of dovetails into Fat, a documentary. I think Fat, a documentary, the other one I did, came out in 2019. This one came out in 2020. And then there's a Fat, a documentary part 2, or Fat 2, a documentary, which is the second part of that. And that came out in 2021, I think. So yeah, 2019, 2020, and 2021, yeah, these movies come back to back. And they're really excellent. I have watched the other one too. And I think I'm going to do a documentary on it, or a review on it later. So the entertainment value, yes, worth watching. Easy to sit through the whole thing. You don't have to. I mean, you can get up and pause it. You're not going to miss out, but it's definitely worth watching. I did get up a couple times, but I didn't just have it playing in the background while I walked away or anything. I was intent to watch it. I was really interested, and I watched it twice because I'm doing a review. So that's what I do. So even if I wasn't doing a review, I would have enjoyed it. I can tell you that. The information value, like I said, it was very good. A lot of good. Okay, here's one thing I do really like about it too. They actually show a military guy, an Apache pilot. I think he was an Apache pilot. He's a helicopter pilot. And he got metabolically ill while he was in the service and lost his flight status. And his body was just doing all kinds of crazy stuff because he hit that point. We all hit that point where our body just starts sliding down. And what he did was he ended up, because all the doctors couldn't give him anything, and the Army doctors, I've been there, they're all in the box, and the box doesn't have anything about diet in there. The box is meds and therapy they ended up sending him to like psychotherapy, thinking he just had brain issues. Like there's nothing wrong with his body, so he must be kind of loopy, right? So he took his own initiative. And like I tell a lot of veterans, if you're a veteran watching this, or law enforcement or first responder, you need to be your own advocate. So I tell these veterans now, if they're active duty or even if they're out and working with the VA, you need to be your own health advocate. Don't depend on the system. So he didn't. He went ahead and started his own restriction diets and became a keto guy and reversed all his symptoms and was reinstated to flight duty and continued his career. So that was a great story. From a military's perspective, I'd love to see that. I wish I could have found this stuff when I was active duty. I think it would have really changed a lot of the trajectory of my career. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't know for sure, but anyway, that's one thing I really liked about the video. So yeah, information value is really good. They do show a lot of different cases. They show a lot of people that reversed type 2 diabetes and they're interviewing as it happens. So that's pretty cool. Coming off medications. These are what I like to call non-scale victories. And everyone talks about the weight loss. Weight loss is great. That's not a problem. And that's part of your health. But seeing people reverse symptoms and get off meds is way more exciting to me. So anyway, information value is great. Okay, my recommendation. I'll give this movie another A-. This is a really good movie. This is a great movie to sit down and watch with friends and family that are either supporting you or not supporting you. If they just want to, if they are of an open mind and they watch it, it's got some compelling arguments. It goes into the Ansel Keys thing. It goes into how the government guidelines were put together by a commission, and it's very good, and how wrong they are and how blatantly wrong they are. It goes through all that. So it does shed a lot of light. And when you see all these documentaries and put them together, it's a very powerful argument. When you get that sugar film and you get the fat documentary, the perfect human diet, and you get this one, if you were to get someone to watch those, I think they'd come away a believer, because I don't know how you couldn't. There's just so much data packed in there and truth. And you don't have to be, it's not a tinfoil hat kind of thing. You don't have to be a conspiracy theorist. You can just go look these things up that are in the movie on the internet and see that they're all true. Everything that's presented is a fact, and it's not like some conspiracy theory. So it's very powerful, very good. I recommend it. And I would say A-. Check this movie out. There'll be links for the movie to watch for free in the description down below, along with links to my website and other things. So listen, I really appreciate you guys. If you like this content and want me to keep creating movie reviews, please comment, let me know, and tell me what movies you'd like me to review, and like and subscribe just to keep supporting the channel. So all I got to say is stay strong and overcome. Carnivore Soldier out.